You did kind of throw out the idea of like, not a whole lot going on last night.
No,
It's just
no,
like,
man. Can I be open? I am a bit miserable right now as a human being because I was like flipping through. I was trying to watch different games. I mean, for starters, after you go through March Madness, you like expect there to be live games on at like 3 p.m. Eastern time.
Yep.
Even more so, I'm sure it's terrible for you because they come on so early on the Pacific Coast. I'm watching television. I'm going, there's nothing to watch. I don't want to watch any of this crap. Like, I don't want to watch anything else other than I want to see a live sporting event. I started watching cricket. All right. I was trying to learn cricket because that was the only thing that was live. I started watching, is it like some sort of like Ted ball or tech ball, something like that. It's another sport I couldn't really get into. I started watching some low-level tennis. I spent some time last night watching the G League tournament.
Oh,
I eventually found my way to the NIT tournament. Thank God for Indiana State now taking on Seton Hall in the finals for the NIT. I guess they're like two of the only teams that actually opted into play. But it is so difficult right now to watch anything. And it's not a knock on the NBA or Major League Baseball or hockey. They're all in kind of the regular season phase. If they were in the playoffs, it would be a different story. It's hard for me to get overly like invested into it because there's so many games. And even in hockey, as they're wrapping up the regular season, everyone's kind of just waiting, buying time until the playoffs get here. So I almost wish Fox and ESPN, who are putting forth the UFL, would look at that league similar to the NFL in the sense of put some games in primetime during the week.
Yeah.
Like, help a brother out, man. That's all I'm asking for.
No, it's a good, and I don't know why it hasn't been thought of before. Like, if they're just going to wedge these games in the UFL during the weekend, I mean, there's going to end up being a lot of other stuff going on. There's going to be, as you mentioned, NBA playoffs are coming up. And by the way, it's not to knock the NBA. There's good stories in the NBA. Most of them involve the playoffs. That's the problem, except for Victor Wembanyama, who's unbelievable. I mean, the guy, he's getting better and better. He put on, there was a classic game last night against Jokic and the Denver Nuggets, and all that's fun. But, like, my problem with the NBA is that we are told all the time by NBA fanboys and kiss asses that the postseason is what matters. That your career isn't considered the same unless it's the postseason, unless it's postseason results. And then we tune out after game 70 in the NBA regular season because we just want to get to the play-in tournament and the postseason. It's like, well, what do you mean there's NBA games on? Okay, but the real NBA starts when the postseason starts. It starts when the play-in starts. So, yeah, if you're the UFL, why wouldn't you throw in a Tuesday or throw in, like, give us a little bit of MAC love when it's the MAC off season so we can watch some ball on a Tuesday or Wednesday? I'm in.
I promise you this, it'll be better than whatever the programming's on at that point. And I know I might get in trouble for saying that, being a part of Fox, but I don't care. I work for Fox Sports. I don't work for, the other Fox stuff. But to your point, in regards to the NBA, I was reading an article last night. It was talking about how now the in-season tournament has potentially led to some teams having a more difficult schedule this season, some teams having an easier schedule. Like, well, wait a second. So now we're complaining about the new invention of the in-season tournament that the NBA was so happy about, so proud of, made such a big deal about earlier this year, and now we're complaining about it because some teams feel like they've had a more difficult run since then? Since that point of the season?
They just made it too confusing for everybody. They made it too difficult.
It's not even confusing. It's just like, what is the point? Like, what was the point of it in the first place? And now you have people bitching and moaning about it. And it's like, I don't know where you draw the line for, like, how do you want the fans then to receive it? Like, you can't have it both ways. You can't pump it up. You can't be excited about it. You can't proclaim it's a big deal and then have players and people coming out saying, well, actually it played to our detriment once we got back into the regular season as we try to make a playoff run, because to your point, it really doesn't matter. And the only thing that matters is getting into the playoffs, the play-in, and trying to win a championship.
That's
my whole issue with it. So, like, now that conversation resurfaces, and that comes back up at this point. So
I'm looking something up real quick on Basketball Reference because I'm curious now. Like, are they counting? Because how, like, and you've pointed this out on Pro Football Reference, where they throw everybody's nickname in. Like, you get like all their nicknames and all their. So I'm looking.
I think we're talking about Russ. Russ has like 3 or 4 nicknames on there. Which I was like, dang, I didn't realize like players had that many.
Okay, this is how lame the NBA is sometimes. LeBron James's credentials on Basketball Reference. All right, I'm showing scoring champion, 20-time NBA All-Star, which is ridiculous.
Please tell me it's on there.
Okay.
Please tell me it's on there.
I'm seeing 19-time All-NBA, All-Rookie Team, 4-time NBA champ, 3-time All-Star Game MVP, 4-time MVP, NBA 75th anniversary team, 6-time All-Defensive, 4 times Finals MVP, and 2023-2024 in-season tournament MVP. Congratulations. You know what?
Yep.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. And you know what? That goes on the mantle for LeBron James and the class of 2003 coming out of Ohio and Dublin Kaufman High, and he was at Akron and all that stuff. That's
the same area.
Yeah, that's big for the state of Ohio and your graduating class, Brady Quinn. In-season tournament MVP. Listed on Basketball Reference as one of his credentials.
We could get back to the greater point, though. It'd be nice to have a mixture of some sort of football that occurs during this week. And I don't know what else the NFL needs to schedule during the course of the year, because now the owners' meetings are over, so we don't get as much buzz. I mean, show more pro days. Schedule some early spring games. Like, I think Fox is onto something, broadcasting some of these spring games. And I know ESPN has done it to a degree before, too, and that's partially where the idea comes from. But I don't know why I mean, this country is starved for football, and it becomes very apparent at this time of year, especially with other sports going on right now. So I'm all for whatever changes they want to make with the UFL to put some games in prime time, because I'd be willing to watch. Like, I watched this past weekend, and I kind of said to myself, like, this is good football. This is the best version of spring football that we've had. And so I'd love to see some of these games and more standalone opportunities to be able to actually digest and watch more of these games.
Now, when is the Quinn family going to take over Marlins Park, or whatever they're calling that little fun house where the Marlins play in Florida? Because you were taking them to a bunch of games. You were taking them to a bunch of games last year. So when does that
I don't know
happen?
about a bunch. I think we went to maybe a handful at best.
Okay.
They have a deal now, by the way. I think it's $52.
It's great.
Yeah, you get a ticket, and then it's all you can eat. And there's an assortment of food that you are fed that are part of that. I have to look into the exact details, but I saw that. I thought to myself, ooh, that's definitely appetizing for a family of 6, because once you get to the ballpark, you can find tickets for relatively cheap. You can kind of sit wherever you want. I don't mean to sound disrespectful to the Marlins, but there's not a great fan attendance, and it's a beautiful park. They've got a lot of good stuff to do. There's good food there. I'm not sure I want to kind of corner myself and have to eat whatever it is that they're providing. Instead, like, take the kids around and let them pick what they want to eat while we're there.
By the way, for those of you wondering, quick update on the Marlins start to the year: 0-6.
0-6.
So for that $52, for an extra $8 for 60 even, you could actually pitch an inning and a third for Miami if you play your cards right.
You may be able to stand in the outfield.
That's right. So there's
some fly balls or something.
So listen, I think it's a great idea. I think you've got enough pull and enough stroke in the industry to where you can make some changes here. And so if anybody wants to throw in some football, some UFL, you want to bring back the AAF or whatever they're calling it, and like throw that on during the middle of the week, that's fine. Hey,
Please,
look,
for the love of God, bring it back.